A robbery suspect is dead after a late-night robbery in Inglewood. Investigators now tell us a store customer gunned down the suspect. News Channel 5's Jeff Tang talked with one of the clerks who saw the entire thing happen.
Sinkers Wine and Spirits lost some of the good stuff on Saturday night.
Well, they just shot up some bottles.
But Clifford Baxter is hardly upset. He's just happy to have survived the gunfight that took place in his store over the weekend. Two armed men tried to rob Sinkers late Saturday.
When I was coming out the back room, when he started in the front door with a pistol in his hand, and I immediately went back to the back to call 911.
Meanwhile, police say the suspects pointed a gun at store clerks and forced two customers to the ground. One of the customers was carrying a gun and ended up using it.
I heard the shooting.
Baxter believes the customer and the suspects exchanged about 10 gunshots. The would-be robbers tried to flee, but one of the men collapsed at the scene and died shortly after. Police say the citizen had a valid carry permit and a right to protect himself.
A citizen, just like a police officer, have the right to defend themselves or defend others if they're in fear of death or serious bodily injury, and that right extends to using deadly force.
Just a little nerve-wracking, just thinking things could have been a lot worse.
Even though the store was closed Sunday, Clifford Baxter had to come back to work to clean up. And while the employees at Sinkers are armed only with broken glass and a mop, they're thankful one of their customers protected them with something more.
It makes you feel good, and I appreciate it, and I let him know last night that I appreciate it.
Jeff Tang, News Channel 5 HD.
And still tonight, Metro Police are still searching for the other suspect. They're also interviewing witnesses, all to make sure the customer's actions were justified. Meantime, the workers at Sinkers tell us they have plans to protect themselves in the near future.
Do you feel safe when you walk into a parking garage? How about when you walk into a convenience store? Well, you shouldn't feel safe when you live in a state that has tough gun laws. According to NRA, National Rifle Association, studies show that states that have strict gun laws have higher crime rates, and states where they have the right to carry handguns have lower violent crime rates compared to the average of the rest of the country. Now imagine that you're walking into a car late at night in a dark parking garage, and someone comes over and approaches you from behind and puts a gun to your head. Wouldn't you feel safer knowing that you also have a gun in your possession for your own line of defense? I would like to begin by explaining to you why your state should have less restrictions on gun laws. According to FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Uniform Crime Rate report for 2000, the kids of NRA members and kids who are supervised shooting programs are actually less likely to be involved in gun violence or accidents than kids whose parents do not own guns. Many people think that if you have stricter gun laws, that the crime rate will decrease. But in reality, strict gun laws have very high crime rate. Also, according to FBI Uniform Crime Rate report for 2000, they said that Maryland has a higher crime rate and is second on the list. Maryland also has a very strict gun law, including a requirement of a background check, a 2-week waiting period prior to receiving the handgun. The only way for Maryland to have a handgun carrying permit is for you to be a police officer or your life be in danger. Maryland crime rate is approximately double the average for the 25 U.S. cities, with a population of more than 500,000. In the state of Texas, they allow their citizens to carry a gun, and their crime rate is 400,071,625 more residents than Maryland does. That proves something right there. Maybe the state of Maryland should consider letting their citizens carry guns. NRA survival story of a 61-year-old man, which is an owner of a permit to carry a concealed handgun, was walking home from a store in Rochester, New York, when two men, one armed, arrived with a knife, attempted to rob him. The permit holder drew his gun and fired, which scared the criminals off. The criminals and the permit holder were not injured during the incident. During the decades, the American Rifleman has published the Armed Citizen column, thousands of incidents of law-abiding citizens Americans using firearms to halt or prevent crime have appeared in the magazine. Editorial space allowing the total could have been far greater of that, of course. As a war-running survey research shows that each year in U.S., gun owners use firearms for protection as frequently as 2.5 million times. The difference between people who have a permit for a registered handgun and the amount of criminals who own guns illegally. The Second Amendment is gun control. We have gun control. The problem is, and always will be, people who break the law do not care about the gun laws. People who want to commit suicide do not care about gun laws. People who prey on others do not care about gun laws. Criminals who should not have guns purchase them illegally. So not selling them through legal channels will not stop criminals from having handguns. If guns become illegal to everyone, they will become even more valuable in the underground market. Have we learned nothing from the war on drugs? Based upon the information provided, major changes need to be enforced, allowing citizens the right to carry arms. Can carrying a concealed weapon reduce the crime? The crime rate and mortality rate in Maryland? Although teaching children the dangers of handguns, there still has to be measures taken by the parents of these children. The makers of handguns have noticeably improved the safety on these weapons. So it makes it harder if someone mistakenly picks up the weapon. It will not go off until these locks are released. According to the Heritage Foundation, the permissive concealed handgun permits in Virginia proved less violent than in Maryland, and this is no fluke. It states that such permits average a 26% lower violent crime rate than states with restrictive permits. Also, people that have the right to carry permits it takes a long sensitive process. According to James Augusty, right to carry laws require law enforcement agencies to issue handgun permits to all qualified applicants. Qualifications include criteria such as age, a clean criminal record, and completing a firearm safety course. So people that are going to have handguns on them are going to be well qualified as citizens that have it. Or for the well-being of other citizens in danger. According to James D. Agassi, when the right to carry law went into effect, the Dade County Police began a program to record all arrests and non-arrest incidents involving concealed carry license. Between September of 1987 and August of 1992, Dade County recorded 4 crimes committed by licenses with firearms. None of these crimes resulted in an injury. The record-keeping program was abandoned in 1992 because there were not enough incidents to justify tracking them. That goes to show you that people do not have these permits are good citizens. So you might be wondering, how is having more people carrying guns going to work? It might sound odd that having more people carrying guns would be a good thing, but many of these permit gun holders have these guns to protect others from harm. As I stated earlier, there are many states that have lower crime rate because of the right to carry law. Maryland crime rate is not going to get any better. According to the Maryland Law Enforcement Agency, in 2007, the total murder was 553, and the violent total was 36,062. And in 2008, the totals were hardly changed. In 2008, total murder was 493, and total violent crime rate was 35,393. So maybe Maryland needs to step up and try what other states have done and have the right to carry law. Now I would like to see how much of a change this plan can make. No matter what the police say, there is going to be people out there carrying guns illegally. But these people are the ones that are tallying up the murder and violent crime rates according to gun in the house being a crime